Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Jennifer Thomas, and I'm Managing Director of Plug and Play in Cleveland. And we're pleased that so many of you from across the globe could join us today and engage with us as we present the next webinar in our series on COVID-19. So today's event is entitled Reopening and Recovery Depend on Safe Medical Devices. And it's an important and hot topic. I'm assuming during this long weekend, some of us began to venture outside and others will soon be back in the office. So let's go over the agenda. I'd like to spend a few minutes on our overview today of who we are at Plug and Play, and also talk to you about our new initiative called Social Impact and COVID-19. Next, we'll have a fireside chat with Upayan Sengupta, Vice President of Life and Health Sciences at UL. And Upayan will be interviewed today by our founder and CEO at Plug and Play, Saeed Amidi. And then you, the audience, will have the opportunity to ask Upayan questions after the chat. And our own innovation manager, Simon Marr, will be conducting the Q&A. So we're going to specifically talk today about, we're going to cover the role that UL plays as the world reopens. And since there's no vaccine yet, the safety of citizens still largely depends on medical and diagnostic devices. And over the past 3 months, UL has been rapidly bringing safer devices to market. And they're currently working to fast-track devices, therapies, and other solutions under the emergency access pathways that now exist in the US, in Europe, and in other markets. So it will be a robust and interesting conversation. We'll also feature 4 startups that are developing a range of new medical device and diagnostic options, including a new ventilator that is an XR, brain imaging, spin tech, wireless stethoscope in stetho.me, and a saliva test in Vitagene. And we've allowed for a few minutes of Q&A with each startup, so please get your questions ready, and Simon Marr will engage with the startups after they present. So I want to bring your attention to some upcoming events we have in the COVID-19 series, and you can see there's no shortage of events. We love to present interesting events with valuable content to you. Tomorrow we talk about the importance of supply chain innovation due to the demand and supply shocks that have been experienced by retailers and manufacturers and suppliers. And next week, Saeed is doing another fireside chat on the Abu Dhabi global market. Don't miss that one. And then during the week of June 15th to 18th, we hold our summer summit, and we'll be featuring over 167 startups that have graduated from our accelerators across 8 different programs and industries. Going to be a fabulous week. So let's get right into Plug and Play. We're located in Silicon Valley, the world's largest innovation platform. We're also located across the globe, and that means we connect the best startups from all over the world with the world's largest corporations. We run 50+ accelerator programs annually on behalf of our partners, and we provide innovation to over 400 industry-leading corporations, and we're the most active VC in Silicon Valley. Our venture arm invests in over 200 startups worldwide every year, and our active portfolio includes successes such as Dropbox, Garden Health, Honey, and SoundHound. So we run accelerator programs across 17 different industries, and this approach allows our partners to access a wide range of innovative solutions and introduces startups across the ecosystem and across the globe so that they can build new revenue streams or improve efficiencies across the value chain, or even safeguard against future disruptions like the one we're having now. So to that end, we've launched a brand new program called Social Impact and COVID-19, because it has become clear that this pandemic has a far-reaching effect. And Plug and Play feels that we can do our part to validate and scale solutions that help restore communities and revitalize the economies that have been so hard hit by COVID-19. This is really our effort to build on our strength and bring a larger impact to solutions to end COVID-19. So we're launching in 4 focus areas to start: health, supply chain, enterprise, which means all the functions that keep a business running, and commerce, which we know has been particularly hard hit. And we've launched our effort around COVID-19 because corporations that were previously only interested in, for example, let's say patient or provider facing startup solutions, they suddenly realize they have a whole range of problems to solve. So for example, many hospitals have reported that about 2% of their overall visits were telehealth prior to COVID-19, and now they're over 70%, and they think they're going to land somewhere around 30%. but there are supply chain resiliency issues, which everyone's realized is key to survival. And companies now know they have to manage remote workers, possibly until 2021. We just heard the tech giants announce that last week. And not to mention all the security issues of all the employees logging in from home when they used to be at the office logging into a secure server. So here is how it will work. We'll determine partners' business units that want to engage. We define the interest areas, work very closely with the partners on focus. Then we do what we do best, source and filter and select startups for the partners. And ultimately, the program begins, and the goal is to get to pilot or proof of concept. And we will work closely with the business units to find those pilots that can not only solve a business challenge or bring it to technology to market faster, but then we work to scale that startup as well, introducing them to our partners and investors in our extensive network. So let's look at a quick timeline. If we began the program with a partner in May, we would hear startup pitches throughout the next 5 months, and then we'd really fast track to pilot as soon as possible. So if you are a corporation, please reach out to me using the contact info below on the screen. And if you're a startup, you could also reach out to me, but you can also visit our website and apply online. Thanks, everyone. So now let me introduce our speaker. We can get right to it. Upayan Sengupta is Vice President and General Manager of Life and Health Sciences at UL. In his role, Upayan has full financial and personnel ownership for the LHS business. Upayan is a recognized thought leader in life and health sciences, and he's a published author. He's an educator at the university level as well. Upayan also has a long history in healthcare, and prior to joining UL, he worked in several roles throughout his 15 years at GE Healthcare. So along with a Six Sigma Black Belt accreditation, Upayan earned his BS in electrical and computer engineering from Purdue University and his MBA from the Kellogg School of Management. And he will be interviewed, as I said, today by Saeed Amidi. And now I'm going to quickly pass it over to Simon Marr to get us started. So thanks, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the next hour and a half.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jennifer. What a great intro. Welcome, everyone on the line. We're about to hop into our fireside chat. I just want to draw your attention to the little Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We're going to host a Q&A session with our speakers at the end of the fireside chat, and also as we go into our startups at the end of the day. So please use that to ask your questions. I'll be looking at those and hosting the Q&A. If you have any issues or other questions, please use the chat box, and we'll be monitoring both throughout the webcast. So without further ado, over to you, Saeed, and Brian, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be online again, as we cannot meet each other physically yet, and go over the challenges and the leadership activities during this tough time. It's a great pleasure, Upayan, to have you with us and UL as one of our corporate partners, and we really would love to get to know you better and your activity during this challenging time. But to start, I would love if you can briefly describe what is UL activity right now and how, if it has changed since January this year.
Yeah, thank you, Saeed, and thanks for having me and being representing here UL. Just a real pleasure to work with you and the Plug and Play team. Thanks again. With regard to UL, we are a over 126-year-old company founded on safety science, and our focus has always been on ensuring that products and people are safe. So for most of us, we've interacted with UL in a very discreet way. So if you turn over most of your household electrical systems or computers or electronics, you'll see a little UL mark at the back. And basically that means that this product has been, tested to the extreme, and it's going to be safe. You know that this product will be safe with that UL mark at the back. And it's something that I think we're all very proud of in terms of our history and where we've come from, building on that, on that rich background of safety. Over the last several years, we've sort of expanded our definition of what we consider safety and how we engage ourselves with clients and stakeholders in the environment of public safety. So, a few ways that we've done that is sort of growing, our capabilities and exposure to things like chemical safety, environmental safety and sustainability, even looking into things around automotive and cybersecurity safety. And that's really allowed us to become far more relevant in a global dialogue around how do we ensure that both products and people continue to be safe as they, as new technologies come into the marketplace. When it comes to healthcare, we've also gone through a very similar transition. And we started as being the world's largest tester of electrical medical devices. And again, that's sort of building on that rich history that we have of understanding electrical products very deeply. But since then, we've become the leading provider of innovation and design support services for usability, as well as regulatory strategy for globalization of medical products through our Emergo by UL advisory business. We are also in a broader scale of testing than just electrical characteristics. We look at biological characteristics, clinical. We look at chemical as well, environmental impacts of products. And then, as the product actually goes through its life cycle and comes into the marketplace, as you know, with regulators around the world, there's been an increased focus on post-market quality and efficacy. And we help our clients with vigilance reporting and also ensuring that supply chains are robust and continue to deliver the quality that they expect. So UL really has branched out in a very meaningful way and become a market leader in full life cycle support services for medical devices. And this is, I think, where our future is headed, especially in a situation like this where we are with a pandemic, that we can be relevant to our clients in a broad scale way.
I believe UL certification gives trust to the consumer, and trust at this time on the product, on the devices that we use, it's even more critical than in a normal time. Do you fast track some product? Do you work with small device startups as well as the big manufacturers? How do you separate your services for, let's say, smaller client versus larger clients?
Yeah, let me maybe split that into a couple of areas. The first is that, as you look at how UL, is relevant to our customers, especially in healthcare, there's a long tail of small and medium-sized businesses around the world. And these clients are the ones that, tend to be the ones that need us the most on a regular basis. However, the larger clients tend to drive a lot of the volume in terms of innovation. They're always innovating. Every year, new products, new technologies are being driven by these large manufacturers. So we have to kind of really diversify how our operations work. So for smaller clients, really focus on how do we provide them speed at the pace that they need. Whereas for the larger clients, it's much more around ensuring that we're integrated into their processes, so that as they're speeding through their innovation cycles, we're working neck and neck with them to ensuring that they achieve the goals that they're looking for. So we really look at it from two different perspectives. The needs are slightly different, although ultimately the goal is to provide high technology coming into the market. They have sort of a slightly different cycles that they go in with. The second is that especially with the COVID-19 situation, there's a lot of focus on specific areas. So we've obviously all heard of PPE, personal protective equipment, and transmission preventing equipment from being something that's very important to bring to market fast, to help the first responders and those who are treating the patients. And so, what we've created is an offering set around some of these very important, high volume, high interest ventilators, disinfecting equipment, areas like that. We've created, sort of workflows across our organization that, like you kind of said, speed through the product, within our organization, and ensure that handoffs are made much smoother, ensure that, the feedback is getting to the manufacturers much quicker so that we can get that product to market. So I think that those are kind of two things that, we really looked at over the last few months, making sure that we're taking care of the specific needs of these clients, as well as ensuring that the specific use case of the device that's being looked at is also taken care of.
You mentioned in your opening remarks that other than electronic certification, you're also getting involved in chemicals sustainability. I personally wanted the year 2020 to be my entry in investing in sustainability. We are working with the top 30 companies around the world in alliance to end plastic waste. And we feel, I love to learn more about what do you do as far as helping the supply chain, helping the chemical or sustainability, because it's kind of new to me. I don't know UL in that aspect.
Yeah, it's really a fascinating area, and some of this has come to us through acquisitions that we've made again over the last several years. I'll talk a little bit about the sort of environmental side of it, because that is definitely a very interesting area for us, especially as we look at sort of building environments, and this is something that's very topical right now with the sort of the reopening of commerce and buildings and places of multiple people gathering over the next few months. We have one of the largest and most highest depth and expertise around indoor air quality, and this is really a center of excellence that we've built and over the last several years. And we are one of the leading providers on VOC testing, so organic compounds, volatile organic compounds, and we help manufacturers around the world ensure that the materials that they're using are sustainable and don't create hazardous situations for consumers around them. We work with many manufacturers, retailers to ensure that the products that they stock on their shelves are sustainable as well as risk-free. I think that this is something that in the healthcare space is going to continue to increase the demand. I mean, we're already seeing this with things like breathing gases, especially around ventilators and other types of breathing equipment. VOC is a huge, a very important topic, and that is just going to get even bigger. So, yeah, I personally, I am also very interested in that space, and thankfully, UL has, again, like I said, a very strong presence in that space.
I believe one of your acquisition has been Emergo, that has led you in different industries as well. And I was thinking that, let's say if a process for UL certification would have taken, I'm just taking an arbitrary number, 3 months to get a product certified. Have you put some fast track initiatives, especially as it's related to COVID-19 product and devices?
Yeah, thanks for bringing up Imago. Imago, before we bought them, were they were the largest provider of regulatory strategy and consulting for medical devices around in the world, and they've continued to grow at a very nice, healthy rate since we acquired them. So they've just really been a fantastic addition to UL's portfolio. One thing I should mention is that since UL is a certification body, and we also provide advisory services to ensure that we don't have conflicts of interest where the advisory side advises on things that the certification body is working on. We separate the two organizations completely from personnel, systems. There's a lot of really solid firewalls that we put in place to ensure that there's no bleed over of certification decisions and information. However, that being said, I think it is important that we understand that the organization as a whole is focused on bringing high technology devices into the marketplace, and specifically to COVID-19. UL has a broad range of offerings and capabilities that can really enable clients that are thinking of either adapting existing products into sort of a new intended use, or bringing a completely new technology into the marketplace. And as I said earlier in my discussion, different customers are really looking for help around different areas. It's not sort of a one size fits all. Most clients at this point in time are really looking for support on being able to globalize their products. So they've got products that are let's say ventilators that are being used in Europe, and now they see big opportunity in the US with our need over here to bring ventilators into the US. So we have Imago that can help them bring those products into the US, or vice versa. At the same time, we have manufacturers that need to get the UL certification so that they can be placed in hospitals in the US and also around the world. And we do have fast track mechanisms to ensure that those products get tested, and the feedback between them and the communication between them and our engineers is very crisp and clean. So we do try to ensure that we do ensure that there's very clear separation of entities and capabilities between advisory and testing, while at the same time we're doing everything we can possibly to ensure that products get the attention that they need and move through. In fact, we've been working with several large clients. You've heard many of their names in the news recently, bringing testing and disinfecting products to the market very, very quickly.
I have had the pleasure of talking to Mayor Turner of Houston yesterday, and about a few weeks ago, I was talking to Mayor Park of Seoul, Korea. And since I operate globally, we have offices in Far East Europe, and specifically in Spain, as we are going back to work, we have decided to test every employee almost every week. And it seems like it's easier to do that in Spain or in Far East than it is here. How do you feel the challenges of different continent or different countries dealing with this devices as well as testing? Do you see some quicker action and reaction from different countries and different continents, and can we learn something from this?
Yeah, very interesting observation. I mean, Mayor Turner has a really tough job ahead of him, and a great city of Houston. Hoping that it's able to come back online very soon. One of the interesting points is that us in the U.S. we've been relatively isolated. When it comes to mass pandemics. H1N1 was sort of the last one that we went through, and it wasn't nearly as severe. But Asia has gone through multiple. We hear of SARS and H1N1, of course, but there's been others in the last several years. And through sort of this process of repetition, they've gotten the pandemic response into a really crisp and clean process, and that was seen very clearly. When China went through the initial infections in late December and January, and they were able to recover very quickly because they put strong actions in place very quickly. Now, that society and that government is very different than what we have here in the U.S. But that being said, the actions that they took were very distinct and were practiced, things that they've gone through in the past. Hong Kong, Taiwan, very different governments than China, but yet they also showed extreme resiliency because they practiced this before. Middle East, they went through the MERS pandemic just a couple of years ago. So again, they've been they've sort of seen this show, unfortunately, a few times, and it's something that they've built into their systems. For us, we're going through that learning process, or we've gone through that learning process now over the last few months, and I think we're now getting we're getting to the point that we're much better at being able to manage it. We've got the supply chains running now. Availability of important life-saving equipment is far better now than it was a few months ago. So I do think that we're in a much better position now, but it was hard learning going through.
And specifically with this antibody test or other tests, again, like from what I hear from our different location, it seems like I have heard or seen in the news that a lot of antibody tests are now being taken off the market in US, and the reliability percentage is very low. And again, maybe I'm not just close to the other countries and what tests they do or what they challenges they have, but somehow I feel in US we are having more challenges or more false start. And is it all because they had to deal with czar before or other experiences? Because even Italy and Spain is making now good progress.
Yeah, Italy and Spain are good examples of those that have responded very well, but they went through a very significant curve. They were very hard hit initially, and struggled for at least a couple of months to get this under control, and then they took some very tough action that ensured the reduction in the spread. So good on them for taking that tough action, but they were in the initial onslaught pretty unprepared for what was to come. I think that to answer your question, there's really the EUAs, so the emergency use authorizations that I think you referenced. For the US, to bringing products like antigen and antibody tests into the market very quickly. It is, to me, in my opinion, it is the right process. The FDA, has a tough job of sort of balancing public health and public safety with ensuring that there's access to these sort of life-saving capabilities. And under a pandemic or an emergency situation as we are in now, they have the ability to use the tool called the EUA to speed the introduction of these tests. Now, as part of that, you're going to lose some amount of oversight in terms of do you have enough real world data, do you have enough clinical trial data to ensure the the effectiveness of the product that you're allowing into the market. So as I said, again, they have to balance and weigh the pros and cons. And I think, look, it's a tough job. But that being said, they continue to really focus also on the post-market. As you said, they've been taking stuff off the market, partly due to the evidence begins to show that these are not effective, and so they're continuing to do their job and have that oversight. Also, look, any situation like this creates bad actors that bring products to the market that really shouldn't be there, that should not be labeled for the users that they have been, and the FDA has been pretty strict about that too, and pulling that off the market. I personally would not feel that is a big threat or something of a huge concern as a consumer. I mean, I think that the FDA is doing the best that they can, and for me to second guess them, I think would not be helpful. But it is something to continue to watch, I think, as a stakeholder in the ecosystem.
Wonderful. And I wanted to little bit, I really would love to see what happens when we get over this COVID-19, but I love to get your thoughts about the new norm. Are we really going to get used to, let me share with you, we had a survey at Plug and Play, and in our headquarters, we have 250 people, and I think 65% responded they are not comfortable coming back to work June 1st, which California allows. So we are working well from home, but I kind of like getting together at work. I like seeing people face to face. But what do you think will be the new norm? Do you have some thoughts about that?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has some perspective on this. I'll give you what I think, where I see it headed. UL, when this first happened, our first focus was on ensuring that our people were safe, very much like all other companies around the world. We were fortunate to, in most cases, to be able to have our employees work from home. We were able to have most of our organization work from home and from the safety of their couch or from their office at home. However, there were several employees that had to come into the work because of they supported products that were deemed as essential. Healthcare being one of them, where we had technicians and engineers who came into work and willingly came in, knowing the importance of what they did, and it was we work for a great company and we do great things, and it's just really impressive to see how these individuals really put others benefits ahead of themselves. But that being said, we have to understand that even when we do start opening up and having more employees coming into work, this is a new normal. I'll give you a very simple example. Prior to this, we didn't really think about employees or customers that had suppressed immunities. And that is something that's quite common, actually. If you start to look at it, there's especially in a large multinational company, you're going to find a significant portion of the employee population that has restricted immunity, or their families have lowered immunity. And we have to understand that that is something we have to take care of. I don't personally have a good answer for how we manage that, but it is something that we have to take into account. At UL, one of the things that we are called upon by our clients is to help them understand what the new normal is going to look like and how do they manage, this transition. And every client is unique. Everyone serves a different part of the industry, and from everything from the supply chain to how they track people within the environment, to how they disinfect the environment, to how they space and design the workspace, how they use new technologies like thermal imaging as an example, to be able to identify potential hazards and risks ahead of time. All of that is going to become the new normal, and we're working with some healthcare providers and looking at again how they integrate different technologies, not just medical devices, other types of technologies, and ensure that data gets moved from one place to the other, so that you track patients, you track clinicians in the environment, and ensure that infection doesn't go from one place to another. So it's all going to be, I think, a learning for us, but I think that as long as we have an open mind, that this is a new normal, and we are going to have to take care of risks that we didn't know of before. I think that the opportunity is there for us to do better.
Is there, like again, this disease doesn't consider borders. It has traveled the whole world. Is there some like bright learning that we can have after this is over? And also maybe you could relate it to innovation and technology and startup, that really, like in Plug and Play, we try to find challenges in banking, in insurance, in automotive mobility, and then we try to find a solution through a startup, through innovation and technology. Do you think there is some learning through these challenging times that startups could focus on, and what we call provide a total solution, not only the device, not only one software? What is your thoughts? What is the role of startups and innovation in this challenge?
Yeah, look, this, as long as this crisis hasn't personally affected you in a negative way, I think that, it's best said by somebody much more famous than me, which is, never waste a good crisis. And, look, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for innovation. Had anybody said, to you, 5 months ago, that a planet of 7 billion people, we wouldn't be able to meet one-on-one anywhere in the world, you'd have laughed at that. But what the bright spot to me is that we innovated, regardless of what we, the situation around us, and as you said, that this threat, traveled the world. We work from home. Yes, certain industries were impacted much more negatively than others, and look, I think that those industries are innovating too, and those that are innovating are succeeding in that space. But think about, like Jennifer said at the beginning of this conversation that 2% of medical visits were online, were through telehealth, and now it's 70%. And personally, I've done that myself now. I never did it before this crisis, and I can tell you I'm quite impressed with the technology and how we've done it. But necessity obviously is a huge driver of innovation. But I think that this is the time for us to look at innovation from a lens of what is really important, and especially for startups and the ecosystem that you have at Plug and Play, which has always been such an impressive lot. to me. But look at the innovation that you're driving, whatever field you're in, as you said, whether it's banking or automotive or healthcare. Everything is going to be different. You talk about health automotive companies. You've heard of Ford and BYD in China. They're all looking to figure out how do their products interact in an arena of wellness, right? Where how do they ensure the wellness of their occupants, or how do they ensure the wellness of those that are interacting with their products? And I think that startups today have just such an amazing opportunity to really find what's important, what is that thing that they do that's different than what's been done in the past, that's going to change an effective outcome. It really focuses down on what's important. So I think maybe the couple of messages that I have around this is, one, there's probably no better time to innovate. This is just a once in a lifetime opportunity. But second is that given that everyone is innovating, and you, me, and everyone around us is innovating. So for startups to really differentiate themselves, they've really got to focus down into what's really important for the problem that they're trying to solve, and be very articulate around that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We are working with Boeing and Airbus and the airlines to somehow make the passenger feel and be more safe in the planes and in the airport. And every movement has a challenge and an opportunity to have an innovation. But with that, maybe I can have Simon to see if there is some questions. It has been really pleasure to have you with us. And I really like the UL, the sign of trust. And we really need to work together to come out of these challenging times.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thanks. Go ahead, Simon.
Terrific. Yeah, really insightful. And Upayan, let's not lose you. We've got a few questions from the audience here. You mentioned that this mission of driving trust is such a massive part of your organization. One of the things that we've been hearing from all of our healthcare partners is some of the challenges of patients feeling that it's safe to return, even when it might be safe. Could you talk about how you're supporting your customers in thinking through not just making it technically safe, but making it also feel safe to return to work or to engage with various devices and that kind of thing?
Yeah, thank you for that, Simon. Thanks for that question. As you said, UL is founded on this proposition that science drives safety, and safety will drive trust. For us, as we look at the evolution of healthcare and wanting to go, we go from sort of emergency procedures that are kind of the norm to going back into a situation where elective procedures and elective care is back on the table. And we have to ensure that patients, as they go into healthcare environments, are as comfortable, or if not more comfortable than they were before, while ensuring all the safety precautions are put into place. One of the ways is you really look at how patients interact with the environment, how they interact with the devices, how the clinicians interact with the environment, and how they interact with the devices. And a lot of that has to do with sort of behavioral analysis, usability analysis, environmental analysis. And UL has a really robust set of offerings that looks at all this together to ensure that the process of and workflow of patient safety and of clinician safety is well managed through disinfection, better signage, better usability of products, ensuring that the process of scheduling and bringing patients in and treating patients is as well managed, through again better communication to the patient, better communication to the clinician, and also ensuring that there's appropriate physical distancing, as well as clear communication of what needs to be done, and infection control within environments. So UL really has this sort of broad set of offerings that we can bring to bear in that situation.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the sort of the human side and the technology side. We had an interesting question here from Melissa Albrecht, and one of the things that you actually mentioned in passing was these mobility companies starting to ramp up production to assist on the healthcare side, but also having to consider a whole new domain of risks, I suppose, as they're thinking about their products. Can you talk a little bit about how UL is engaging with non-medical manufacturers and supporting them build up and think about more of the healthcare side of things, particularly in the context of COVID, perhaps?
Yeah, this is fortunately or unfortunately not a new problem. We've dealt with large consumer companies wanting to bring their technologies into healthcare for years now, and bringing, as Simon, with your background, you're aware of the quality requirements within healthcare are significantly different than in some other industries. Automotive and aviation tend to have very strict quality standards similar to healthcare. So there is some synergy there. But the area that we start with is just helping the manufacturer understand the deep need for quality management all the way through the product life cycle, from concept all the way to product sunset, once a product is taken off the market. And once a customer really understands what's required, then we help them build that entire process to manage the quality systems, bring the product to market, and be able to manage the product in the post-market situation. So it's a journey with several customers. I think the auto and the mobility manufacturers are, as I said, are better prepared to manage the quality standards. And be able to, kind of pivot parts of their manufacturing and design processes to enable this. But that being said, I do think that there's a future for them in a future state where there's a heightened sense of need by consumers to be in a state which is more environmentally friendly, as well as more centered around their personal wellness.
That's really interesting. And Syed, and you mentioned, the importance of emerging technologies and working with startups. And we do have a question here on that. Maybe you could talk about how is UL engaging with the startup community, and perhaps which technologies or emerging technologies are you thinking of potential game changers or real opportunity areas for further exploration?
Fortunately, we get a lot of opportunity to engage with startups, and one of those ways is through Plug and Play, which for us has been a real fantastic partnership, where we're really able to sort of get into at sort of a ground level with these innovators and really see how they're get their process, get their thinking of how they bring how they're thinking of solving these very important problems. From what we're really learning, in terms of technology, there's a couple of things, and especially, sort of when you look at COVID-19, one is sort of around acceleration and the use of digital tools to accelerate, different parts of the healthcare value chain. So, things like, digital clinical trials, remote, remote usability studies, remote inspections, things like that. Leveraging remote technologies to be able to manage the process of innovation, the process of gathering real world data, and being able to pivot into that space is so important. So it's not just about the product itself being digital, but it's about the process around the product, and really accelerating through the use of digitization of internal processes, around the regulatory pathway, as well as digitizing the data collection and being able to understand what that data is telling us. So that's sort of one area that we've looked at. The other area is really sort of pivoting existing products and existing capabilities into new spaces and new use cases that didn't exist before or didn't have the need before. As a very simple example, we've all heard of this this thermometer that has location tracking built in, and how that has helped look at how things like fever or body temperature has changed between a lockdown situation and an open situation. So we've really helped some clients being able to adapt existing technologies for sort of new use cases, things that again might not have existed before. So those are kind of the two areas that we've spent a lot of time on the last few months.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And look, just as we land the plane, I might ask Saeed. Saeed, do you have any closing remark or a closing question to complete the fireside chat?
No, but it is great having you with us, and I have to take the opportunity to congratulate you. I know that I am an immigrant in this country, and I'm really excited in what the opportunities America has provided with me. And I always say it's very interesting that Google, Microsoft, and IBM are now run by Indian immigrant, I believe, as well as companies like Uber. And this, I believe, this diversity creates innovation as well, and working with different cultures and different countries. But I love to get your thoughts about that at UL, your global footprint. What does diversity bring to the challenge?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I totally agree with your comments around, how America really embraces its diversity. And I think, I've been fortunate to work for two corporations that really, say what they mean and mean what they say when it comes to diversity. And UL just, has embraced that in many different ways. It's not just about sort of the diversity of people. We really look at it from the diversity of of backgrounds, of experiences. It's how we represent our clients, how we represent the problems that we're trying to solve. And just like Plug and Play has such an impressive global presence, UL has spent a lot of time and effort to really broaden our global reach. And now over 60% of our employee base is outside of the United States. But that being said, we do operate like a global company. And, again, I think that American corporations really have embraced the idea of globalization. I think the COVID-19 situation is going to be a very interesting one for us to manage through, specifically around supply chain management. I think that there's going to be a push towards greater localization of critical components and critical pieces. But that being said, we will continue to serve a global market. And so it's going to be a very interesting time for us, in large corporations to be able to manage the differences between having, to localize supply chains while serving a global base of clients. But look, that's an opportunity for us all to support and get better at.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Saeed. Thanks, Upayan. It was a terrific conversation. Really a pleasure to have you with us. So
my pleasure.
We're going to hop off into our startup section of today's program. So for our folks at home or in the home office, which is probably where many of us are, once again, we'll have the Q&A box running at the bottom. So if you've got questions for our startups, I'll have a brief Q&A with them at the end of the pitch, which is pre-recorded, so it'll be nice and snappy. So I'm going to introduce the first startup. There'll be a 5-minute recorded pitch, and then we'll do a live Q&A. So we've got 4 startups with us this morning, the ones that you can see on screen. And let's tee up the first one, which is Vitagene, and we'll have Nikhil Arun, the VP of Products, with us to do the live Q&A after the video. Let's roll.
Hi, my name is Nikhil, and I run product for Vitagene Incorporated. Today, I'm going to tell you about our main product, OneHealth.io. OneHealth.io is a zero-contact testing platform. So we allow brands to deploy a testing solution with upsells based on that testing with a click of a button. These tests are zero contact, meaning you can do them at home. Our zero contact testing platform has three major revenue sources. First, we have partner branded testing. When you go to GNC, take a GNC branded DNA test and get supplements based on that, all of that is our technology from the test to the recommendation. The OneHealth.io platform allows you to customize your test inputs and outputs with your brand. We also have our own brand, Vitagene, built on top of the OneHealth.io platform that has DNA testing and diet recommendations. Finally, we now have COVID testing. These are at-home tests where you spit into a tube. Now, as much as we all like supplements and diet recommendations, I think we all know why you are listening to this presentation. Let's talk about COVID testing. We were the first FDA EUA authorized test for saliva collection, and the second for at-home collection. We have 100% sensitivity and specificity in the test used as part of the FDA authorization. An independent study by Yale University showed saliva was preferable to nasopharyngeal tests. This test tests for the RNA of the virus, so it tells you if you have COVID now. We offer 4 different types of solutions. Let's get into them. Our consumer product is offered on our own brand, Vitagene, and will soon be offered on GNC. You take an assessment based on CDC guidelines, and if you're symptomatic, you can buy a test. The test gets shipped to your house, you spit in a tube, and there's a return mailer to the lab. The lab turns it around in a maximum of 3 days, but right now is turning it around in less than 2 days. You can see your results in your dashboard, and you can purchase these kits now on Vitagene.com. A majority of our revenue is coming from healthcare providers. These healthcare providers range from telehealth to independent doctors to NICU wards testing parents before they can come and see their kids. In this option, we ship kits in bulk to an office or drop ship them to a patient. The patient takes the test and sends it to the lab. The results are sent to the patient and the doctor. Independent doctors use a UI to order the kits, while the larger health systems use our API. For corporations, we offer daily monitoring of the team via text message. So we ask individuals if they have symptoms. If someone has symptoms, we tell them to isolate and send them a test. If they have COVID-19, we then inform all employees they were in touch with to self-isolate as well and send them a COVID-19 test. If the employer wants it, we can provide video proof of the individual taking the test. We then report the information to the employers on a daily basis. We can create branded testing sites for government agencies. This also applies to other large organizations. We can provide validation of patient identity and symptoms during the test order process. Tests are drop shipped to patients at home or work, and the kits are fully made in the United States. We are looking into antibody tests. However, as shown by the joint UCSF and UC Berkeley study, many antibody tests are not very accurate right now. We are lab agnostic and work with many labs across many products. We're looking for more lab supply, so if you know an interested lab, please let me know. Thank you for listening to this presentation. If you would like to contact us, please do so at sales@onehealth.io. Thank you, and have a great day.
Hey, Nikhil, thanks for joining us.
Hi, how are you?
Good, mate. Very nice. Really impressive with the emergency authorization. So when did you guys realize that you'd be able to, that you need to test for COVID and that your platform could actually support it?
When it started happening, we started thinking about the possibility of us supporting it and looking into it. Luckily, we had the concept of a platform which could add on testing, so we thought that we were in a good position for that. And then once we had the right relationships with the right labs and realized that there was a high chance of FDA authorization, that's when we kind of put the pedal to the metal and went for that.
Yeah, great. And in terms of just like ramp up in capacity, like how are you guys viewing your sort of roadmap? Has this become everything that you guys are doing now, or are you doing this in conjunction with other products that you were focusing on? Yeah,
so we still do this in conjunction with the other products that we are focusing on. Those products, once COVID started, a lot less people bought them, and now they're all actually coming back. But this is just another testing product for us and another lab. And the way our platform works, we think of it as a lab input, multiple labs for a test, and then different types of tests. So for us, this is just another testing product. And tomorrow, when there's another testing product that's needed, we'll add that other testing product.
Great. And then for folks, and I know we've got the little poll up now for the audience to indicate if they'd like to get connected, and we've obviously got a few. For those who would like to do, say, a POC and get a sense of, hey, did this work? Would this integrate? Like, could you give us just a real quick sense of like how quick could that get spun up to get to like a proof of concept?
Yeah, just to essentially use our test is what you're saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you are a doctor who's buying in bulk, you can literally go to a UI right now, click a button, and get the tests. So you don't need to talk to anybody. You can just go to that link, validate yourself the link, and go there. If you want a full end-to-end solution, we can put it up in 24 hours with your brand and your color scheme. So it shouldn't take more than 24 hours, regardless of situation. And if you just want the test, it's available right now.
And are you able to give a sense of how many customers you have on the platform right now?
Overall, across tests, it's in the multiple hundreds of thousands. Yeah.
Great. And then on the COVID side?
It's also in that sort of range, yeah.
Okay, well, very good, very good. Well, Nikhil, thanks so much for joining us. We've got to hop on to our next startup, but great presentation, and we've got a number of folks who've indicated yes. So thanks very much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, folks, so we'll hop on to our next startup here this morning. Can we hop on? There we go. We got Stephanie, and we'll have Tamir Kosowski, the sales director, with us for the live Q&A afterwards. So let's roll the video on this one.
Hello, my name is Tamir Kosowski, and I'm the sales director at Stephanie. And it's my pleasure today to tell you more about our AI-powered solution that improves primary healthcare during the fight against COVID-19. Stephanie is a unique system that's comprised of two parts working together. Firstly, our wireless stethoscope. It's been designed and manufactured here in Poland, and it allows for the remote auscultation of your lung and heart whilst delivering a high quality of sound. Secondly, our Stephanie AI algorithms that are currently the only medically certified algorithms on the market that allow for the identification of abnormal sounds during lung auscultation. So both our device and the algorithms are CE-marked Class 2 medical devices. So how does Stephanie work, and how can it help people at home during this pandemic? I'll play a short video explaining how the device works and how it can help.
Here's Tommy. Tommy's got asthma. Today he is coughing a lot as his asthma flares up. Luckily, Tommy's mum's got the SthethoMe wireless stethoscope in her medicine cabinet. SthethoMe enables her to examine Tommy at home and get immediate notification if any worrying symptoms appear. The results are then sent directly to the doctor. The sounds recorded by the stethoscope are processed by the StethoMe AI system, which is based on artificial intelligence mechanisms. The algorithms mark precisely any unusual sounds in the respiratory system. As a result, the doctor is able to diagnose and monitor their patients in a quicker and more effective manner. While Tommy and his mum are happy because they don't need to visit their doctor that often, and they've got Tommy's asthma symptoms completely under control.
So as you saw on the video, the ability to remotely perform a lung or heart examination means that we can minimize the risk of patients moving around, going to see their doctor or going to the hospital and potentially infecting themselves or infecting others. So we provide a way to accurately and repeatably check your health in the safety of your home. This means that we also help the medical health system slightly relieve its burden by reducing the number of unnecessary visits patients make to go and see their doctor. So talking about doctors, how can we help the people on the front lines? Nurses and doctors working, for example, in isolation wards in the COVID-19 crisis. So for them, we've developed a way to perform an auscultation whilst wearing full personal protective equipment, something that's impossible with a traditional stethoscope. So on this video, which has been recorded at a hospital here in Poznań, Poland, a doctor is able to perform an auscultation whilst wearing his equipment and transmit that data to our platform, which can then be shared with the rest of the team or the doctor, see the AI analysis and check up and monitor the patient's status. This means that we can minimize the risk for physical contact between the patient and a doctor and lower the risk of infection. In the future, we can also allow prevention and screening for other heart and respiratory system diseases to lower the burden for the health service. So where are we with StethoMe today? Our product is certified, it's ready to use and commercially available. As I mentioned before, we are CE marked, but we are also pursuing FDA approval and hope to receive it in 2021. We are currently cooperating with major telemedicine providers, and one of our key features is that we provide full flexibility in terms of integrating our solution into our customers' platforms, whether these are video consultation platforms or EHR record systems in hospitals. And for this, we have an open API and SDKs that support the integration process. So as you saw on the video, we are already supporting hospitals in the fight against COVID-19, with multiple hospitals here in Poland using our device to auscultate patients on isolation wards. So thank you very much for listening to my short presentation, and I'll be happy to take your questions. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tamir. We got you on audio there as well?
Yes, that's correct. I'm here.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Impressive work with getting the CE mark. Could you talk a little bit more about the process for getting the mark, like from development? Were there any particular challenges or setbacks along the way?
Absolutely. I mean, the real challenge we faced, or what also makes our solution unique at the same time, is that, as everyone knows, to train a neural network or to train AI, you need a database of validated data. And for lung auscultation, so for abnormal sounds, there are no publicly available databases. So we had to create that gold standard against sort of the benchmark to train our AI against. And for that process, we recorded 12,000 patients. So we had over 1 million sound tags and over 38,000 medical descriptions. So each of those descriptions had to be validated by a team of doctors, okay? So, and in that way, only once all three of them agreed on what the sound was, so for example, okay, this is a bronchi, only then could we utilize that data to train the AI. And obviously that was a process that took a number of years. It was actually almost 3 years. But that's what's given us the opportunity to get an AI who, at the moment today, we're about 29% more accurate than a pulmonologist when it comes to identifying abnormal sounds.
Wow, yeah, fantastic. And then in terms of like clinical validation studies and those kinds of things, how do people get a sense of, its applicability in various contexts and whatnot?
Yes, so of course, as part of the registration process, but also as part of a sort of a natural process of gathering the data, we have published peer-reviewed clinical papers, both in the European Journal of Pediatrics and in PLOS ONE. So these claims are not, it's just not marketing stuff. It's a clinically proven data. And in terms of the application, we originally designed the product as a pediatric only device, okay, for mothers at home, but this has now been expanded into adults as well, and COVID has also obviously changed the way we look at things and brought it closer to maybe professional use than we had envisaged before. So we sort of had to adapt the software and the way the device works to that new scenario. Hi, I'm sorry, Simon, I lost you there for a moment.
Oh, I successfully muted myself. So maybe that was self-editing. But I was just going to say that obviously leads to some different considerations around channels, whether you're going to B2B, B2C.
Yeah, so as of...
But look,
yeah, so...
Please go on.
Yeah, as of, whether B2B, B2C, as of today, we are a B2B2C business model. We feel strongly that our device and the solution itself works at its best when it's part of a wider continuum of care, whether it's a telemedicine platform, whether it's a private hospital, or whether it's part of a health insurance package, where using our API we can sort of seamlessly integrate into those patient solutions, and then they provide our device to the end customer.
Awesome. Well, Tamir, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Really cool tech, and we'll hop on to the next one. But we see a number of folks have asked to get an intro, and we'll hope to collaborate again soon.
Thank you, Raj. Take care. Bye.
No worries. Take care. All right, folks. So let's hop on to our next one. We've got SpinTech, and we'll have Ward Detweiler, who's the president and CEO for the live Q&A just after this video.
Hello, my name is Ward Detweiler, President and CEO of SpinTech, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to our company, our technology, and our use cases as we address the COVID-19 pandemic. We are an MRI technology company that is commercializing a revolutionary software platform called Stage that reduces time for comprehensive brain imaging by over 40% while improving detection and quantification of biomarkers often missed by conventional imaging. We are working with over 50 global research sites to validate the technology and expand clinical use cases. And our technology is supported by over 100 papers and 8,000 process scans. So how does this work? Stage uses a proprietary rapid acquisition sequence that can be run on any manufacturer in field strength in 5 to 7 minutes. From there, data is sent to an integrated processing hub, which automatically produces 15 standardized qualitative and quantitative outputs, which are sent directly back to the viewing system where the radiologist is already working. On top of this data, we have developed a suite of automatic quantification and detection tools to identify biomarkers across a wide range of conditions, improving accuracy and workflow. What this means is that in under 10 minutes, the radiologist gets a truly comprehensive brain protocol that can be used to diagnose nearly any neurological condition. No more asking, what am I going to run? Only what am I going to look at? This drives a strong clinical value proposition for radiology groups because 40% faster brain imaging means the ability to see 10 to 15 extra patients each week, driving over $500,000 in new annual reimbursement, all from a simple software add-on. Additionally, we see improved patient experience, improved workflow efficiency, and improved diagnostic capability. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic is presenting some new challenges to radiology. Research shows that 1/3 of hospitalized COVID patients experience neurological symptoms, particularly driven by neurovascular damage such as stroke and hemorrhages. But current technologies are often unable to adequately detect this damage in a clinically meaningful time frame. With over 1.5 million COVID patients in the US to date, this is going to drive a wave of new patients in need of diagnostic imaging, putting increased strain on an already overburdened MRI capacity. This is further exacerbated by new safety and sanitization protocols that add time to per patient exam time. Thus, to properly monitor patients over time, we need accurate quantitative tools that improve diagnostic capability while also reducing scan time. Furthermore, we're limited in our ability to systematically study patients across sites because of lack of data standardization. Stage solves several of these pressing challenges in diagnosing and treating COVID-19 patients. First, Stage enables enhanced diagnosis and treatment through a standardized, quantitative, and comprehensive brain imaging protocol. Stage is exquisitely sensitive to neurovascular damage, critical to diagnosing these patients, and its comprehensive set of outputs reduces the need for patient rescan from inconclusive findings. Additionally, this quantitative information can be used to better determine the location and scope of damage, which is important in determining long-term cognitive impact in treatment. Second, Stage can help alleviate the strains on throughput driven by new patient demand and safety protocols by reducing patient scan time. Additionally, radiology read times and workflow can be improved by enhanced visualization and automatic quantification and detection tools. We are currently imaging our first COVID patients at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit with very encouraging results and expect to be able to share results shortly. However, ahead of that, we can look to recent research to underlie Stage's unique benefits. Many of the common neurological symptoms of COVID, such as headache, altered mental state, stroke, and epilepsy, are driven by subtle neurovascular damage. From this recent paper, we see SWI neurovascular lesions indicative of increased stroke risk. Compared to conventional imaging, Stage provides a more robust protocol with enhanced detection and quantification of these changes, such as clots, hemorrhagic lesions, and reduced oxygen saturation, in a fraction of the time with improved resolution. Additionally, many patients experience severe cytokine storms, which can cause difficult to detect damage to brain tissues such as inflammation, blood-brain barrier breakdown, and hemorrhage. Compared with conventional MRI, Stage not only improves visualization of this damage, but also produces quantitative information that can be used to more accurately characterize and monitor the damage. Finally, we have seen very encouraging results from our first published AI tool, which enables automatic detection and quantification of cerebral microbleeds. We're already achieving a sensitivity and specificity that is beating all but the best human readers, which will drive improved accuracy in detecting these hard to detect yet critically important biomarkers. With that, I invite you to reach out and learn more about SpinTech and how we're working to improve diagnostics for COVID-19 patients. Thank you very much for your time.
Fantastic. Ward, thanks for being with us this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I'm assuming that folks can go to the website and see a bunch of the clinical validation studies. I'm wondering, in terms of the efficiencies, in terms of the ROI for clients and stuff, have you guys got case studies, or how have those been validated in the market?
Yeah, so we have validated this with a number of different research sites. We actually just published a paper that was published in early January that took data from, I think, about 40 sites that we're working with, and compared our quantitative values and our actual image quality reviewed by radiologists, validating that this is superior to conventional imaging, looked at our time, and the conclusion was, yeah, that this is going to provide, in roughly half the time, just a much more robust brain imaging protocol. So all of that's very well proven in the research, which is really helpful for us as we go to an EUA, because we're still undergoing our 510K for the kind of main product. It's the same platform, but that data really helps us get through that process.
Yeah, and in terms of potential clients, how easy is it for you guys to help them understand the potential ROI gain for them as an institution to fund bring you guys on?
Yeah, it's funny because I just had a call this morning before that, and they in about 5 minutes in the presentation really just kind of got it right away. But in terms of making it real, it's really easy because we send them essentially like a file that they would load into their MR scanner. It's just designed to put kind of a stage sequence in. They can run that, and then we would show them, process the data for them, and in 5 minutes they'd see this amazing data set. So it's really easy for us to kind of actually prove it in the real world as well.
Fantastic. And you mentioned the pilot project in Detroit with COVID patients. What's next on the horizon?
So we right now are looking then to take that work and then expand it out to our additional existing clinical sites. We are just starting the kind of we're just submitting our pre-UA submission right now, but are kind of on the pathway for that. So hopefully we'll be able to get through that quickly and be able to get on market and get this into clinical use over the summer here. But yeah, we've got a very nice pipeline of kind of engaged sites that we built through conferences and publications, and we're lucky to have a really talented and well-known team on the development side that gets us a lot of market access.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we got to get on to the next startup. One last question here that just came through. On the reimbursement side, could you talk a little bit about the considerations there?
Yeah, so there's an existing reimbursement code that pays an additional about $100 per scan, depending on the payer source, for 3D post-processing, which is what we do. So we don't need to go and reinvent the wheel and get a new code. The biggest benefit, though, that we see is, because once you get into the reimbursement code discussion, it's always people are like, oh, well, they don't really pay for that, or they don't pay at that rate. For us, it's all about, it's the throughput. You're going to generate, conservatively, you're going to see 10 to 15 extra patients a week. If you're more heavy brain, or you can really get your scheduling down, you're going to see much more than that. So that's really, I think, where we generate the most value, but at least the cost is offset by the reimbursement code somewhat.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for being here with us this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers. All right, folks, we are going to go on to our final startup for this morning. So we've got Annexor Bioenergy, and Lee Jensings, who's the CEO, will be here for the Q&A. So let's roll the video, and then we'll have the Q&A.
Good afternoon. My name is Lee Jensings, and I am the founder and CEO of Annexor Bioenergy. I'm recording this presentation at our manufacturing facility here in Nashville, Tennessee, where we manufacture a small-scale system that converts organic or plastic waste into clean energy. We're in the process of launching our new bio-CHP product, and then COVID hit and things changed. 8 weeks ago today, I received a text message from an important friend in the Caribbean. His request was simple: can you get us ventilators? When I asked how many he needed, his response was very sobering. He texted, "One ventilator will save at least one life. You do the math." So I immediately met with my director of engineering, and I asked him, I said, if we can design a machine that converts organic waste to power, can we design and manufacture a ventilator? And his reply was, absolutely, let's start tonight. We need to help these people out. So that moment, we launched what we call Project Breathe Strong. The first thing that we did was put together a team of doctors and respiratory therapists to design the ventilator. The lead doctor was actually one of the designers of the original Bird ventilator. How lucky is that? Our design goals were very straightforward. The ventilator must be reliable, it must be easy to use and maintain, and it must be affordable. And it has to be able to be deployed in any hospital in the world, from a world-class hospital here in the United States to a field hospital in Ghana. We collaborated with some of our key partners like Schneider Electric, and engineers and product designers from all over the country, from Maine all the way to Portland, Oregon. And after 45 days, we successfully designed and manufacture what we call the X-Vent. The X-Vent uses a precision CNC machine piston designed to function for over 100 million cycles. The piston actually recalibrates every time it's used, so it can easily be stockpiled for future use without expensive collaboration maintenance. The X-Vent uses readily available industrial components and is controlled by an easy-to-use Schneider Electric PLC and HMI screen. It provides 3 critical modes of ventilation operation so doctors can optimize to save a COVID patient's life. We also added a remote access feature using an Ethernet wired Microsoft Service tablet computer. Our respiratory specialist was adamant about this. To monitor a COVID patient, these therapists have to constantly dress up and remove their PPE clothing just to enter a contaminated ICU room to get basic data. This is risky and time-consuming. The remote tablet helps solve this problem. We also included a swappable backup battery system to minimize disruptions in emerging country hospitals where they have poor power quality. The X-Vent can even be powered with a car or motorcycle battery if needed. We've been working with the FDA team for over the last 30 days to get EUA approval. This has been a new experience for us. The submittal and review process has been meticulous and has encompassed hundreds of hours of testing and hundreds of pages of detailed information. One thing that stands out, though, is how impressive the FDA team has been. They've been responsive and completely committed. I think they work 7 days a week to get safe medical devices to help COVID patients in the market right now. They actually respond to any email or question within a couple hours. Very impressive. We're also going through the full process to get FDA approval, which we hope to get by the end of the summer. So what started as a challenge has now become a new company. We have set up Breathe Strong with the mission to manufacture, distribute, and service life-saving medical devices throughout the world. This week, we started donating XVent ventilators to many companies in Africa, Latin America, and South America. And we will start selling ventilators to the US hospitals very soon. Project Breathe Strong has been perhaps the most significant pivot I've ever been involved with, but it also has been very rewarding. I believe adversity reveals the character of companies and people, and I know I've learned a lot about the character and the work ethic of my team. We are very appreciative that we can use our technology and our capabilities to help save people's lives, and I'm very excited about our future. So thanks for Plug and Play for inviting me to share our story.
Well, Lee, I couldn't imagine a better story to land the plane on this morning. So thanks so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you.
Great. Hey, Lee, with Breathe Strong, what are you looking for? Like, what are you, we've got investors, we've got corporates, we've got startups joining us this morning. What's the next steps for Breathe Strong?
Well, the next step is really launching the product, not launching it internationally as well in the U.S. And we've really identified additional couple products working with the clinicians in the hospitals that we think we can manufacture as well. So we believe we're in a good start to establishing a strong worldwide medical supply chain, and we plan on using our innovative and our badass design team to take advantage of that.
Yeah, fantastic. So way beyond ventilators then?
Correct. And of course we have, it is strategic with our core product because again, our one of our major focus areas for our bio-CHP product was also hospitals and emerging markets. So it really lines up well with our core business.
Fantastic. And in terms of the XVents, could you give us a sense of how many are in use today, say in the States and also in Africa?
Yeah, we're shipping them out this week. We have some difficulty shipping them because there's an executive order restriction on sending out ventilators to other countries. So we've had to work around that. We have about 40 being assembled right now. And as soon as we get our EUA approval, we have literally thousands identified to ship out, mostly in South America and Africa right now, but we also have interest in Asia.
Fantastic. And in terms of beyond COVID, could you give us a clue as to other medical devices that might be of focus?
Yeah, we actually have a unique ceramic filter technology that we acquired that was developed by a national lab about 6 years ago. We're using it for our core product, but we think there's some very valuable niches with this ceramic filter application, in the sense that it's not disposable. It can be cleaned and retreated at a hospital. We think there's a couple products that may come out of that technology.
Awesome. Well, Lee, that's all we have time for, but thanks so much for anchoring the program today. Really, really cool stuff. Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, folks. Well, it's been a pleasure to be part of the event today. Jen, I'm going to hand it back over to you for some closing remarks and to land the plane.
Thank you very much, Simon. Thanks for your really expert job in the Q&A and engaging our partners and our speakers. Everyone, don't forget about our events coming up. Please check our website. We have so much going on. Big thanks to our speaker, Upayan Gupta. We really value our partnership with UL and appreciate all of the knowledge and insight he gave us today. And then, of course, thanks to our startups. These were just amazing startups today. Thanks to Julianne Roseman for teeing them up and our presenters, Vitagene, Stetho, me, SpinTech, and the Nexor. And of course, to our awesome PMP team that makes this webinar happen, including Saeed Amidi, great interview Saeed and Simon, and then there's a big team behind the scenes that you can't see. So thanks to everyone. A recording of this event will be available shortly, so please check our YouTube channel and have a great day. Stay healthy, stay safe. Talk to you soon.